In this video, I'm gonna show you how you can pop colors using Photoshop. So let's get started. Hey, what's up guys, Dhruval here back with another video, and for this tutorial I'm gonna use an image from deviantart.com, and if you want to use the same image, the download link is in video description, so feel free to check it out. Now before you start editing this or following this tutorial, I'm gonna edit this JPG into raw settings. Now if you have Photoshop CC, there is a filter, like there is like camera raw filter, so you can use that. But if you don't have CC or you have something like CS5 or CS6, you can go to edit, preferences, and then go to camera raw. And in the camera raw, make sure that in the JPG option here you have selected automatically open all supported JPGs and then hit OK. So after that, when you will go to file and open the image, so here this is the stock image that we are going to use, and open it, it will automatically open it inside camera raw, even if you have CS5, 6, no matter what. So this is the camera raw, and here is where all the editing is gonna happen, most of. So first of all, always try with the auto, but as always auto just gave us a finger, so it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna go with default, and in the exposure I think I'm gonna bring it up a little bit, or actually you know what, let's keep the exposure for the end so you can get the idea. Now the contrast is a little bit too much for what I need, so I'm gonna decrease the contrast a little bit, and then I will try to increase the highlights a touch, not too much, keep it under 10, like 8 9, that seems fine. And then I'm gonna increase the shadow, not too much, just a little. These are like, I already know what I did, but if you are doing it on some different image, always go something like dush and then come back, noticing like how much do you need. So let's go to shadows and something like that, 7 6, that seems fine. And in the whites I'm gonna decrease the white so that we can see those details in the background. As you can see, as I'm decreasing the whites, the details appear, and here they gone, here they are. See here, notice here, see, they're coming back like that. So don't do it too much. I'm gonna keep it to, let's say, 80%, or let's say 85. Okay, I'm gonna be generous, minus 85 sorry, minus 85. So in negative we gotta bring those down. And in the blacks I'm gonna increase it slightly because the area near her hair seems a bit much, or you can also decrease it if you want some contrasty look. So let's try the contrast one and decrease it a bit more, not too much, otherwise it will affect the skin negatively. So keep it under control. So as you can see, it looks fine, and now it comes to vibrance. Now I will not add the clarity because it's a really beautiful lady on a beach, so I don't want to make it like really hard or something like that. No 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 no. I'm just gonna increase the vibrance, and the good thing is that photo is already dull, so you can add a lot colors as per your taste, so that's really helpful. I'm gonna go with, like, let's say 75. Yeah, seems fine. Okay, bit too much. Let's go with the 70. This thing will take trial and error, as you know. And now let's go to the curves, the regular curves, and let's play around with the highlights. So as you can see, I'm gonna add slight more highlights, or maybe kill it. I think killing it works fine. And let's look at the lights. Okay, no, a slight amount of lights, not too much. And let's go with the darks. So the thing with darks is that I might wanna add them a little, -3, I mean remove it, so make things slightly darker. And let's lift up the shadows, or maybe, you know what, decrease the shadows because it's giving really nice contrast. And then I'm gonna lift up the darks so that we can balance out the shadows. It always works like it you will need practicing, but all I'm trying to do is like tell you like how everything works. Okay, so as you can see, the shadow is giving it contrast, and at the same time dark is helping us to keep that in balance so that it doesn't look like, doesn't overkill. Otherwise, see, it's dull, but it will help us to keep the balance. So the curves thing is done. So let's look at the difference what we made. It's a subtle, but yeah, still better, more slightly brighter and contrasty. See, it looks nice. And you can always like decrease the highlights a touch or maybe increase. It's all per your taste. Okay, so curves are done and it's time to go to play with some saturation. So this fourth icon is for saturation, third one is for sharpening. I'm not gonna sharpen anything. So I'm gonna use the fourth one for the saturation and luminance. So make sure you have selected the saturation tab, and in the saturation I'm gonna first add a bit more red because there is slight red in her dress, the tint, and obviously her beautiful red hair, so I obviously want to make them pop because those are the highlights of the image. So 60% seems fine, don't overkill it, otherwise it will also ruin the skin tone. And then I'm gonna go to my blues and increase the blues. So as you can see the sky and the ocean in the background, how beautifully they pop. Like this is the stroke, and it will only work if you do your job better here. Okay, so let's go back here, and I'm also gonna add a bit more aquas. So it's subtle difference but also really nice, so it's up to you how much you need it. And I think the red was a bit more strong, so I'm gonna go here and let's keep it to 50%. Yeah, seems decent. So let's turn it on and off. Yeah, already looks beautiful. And now it's time to do some split toning. So split toning is basically we're gonna add a certain color in shadows and a certain color in highlights. So they have to be opposite, so it will create a good contrast and good difference. So here's how we're gonna do it. Okay, in the highlights I'm gonna use a yellowish tone, and I'm gonna increase my saturation. It will not show the effect unless you increase the saturation. So I think 15% seems fine, or maybe let's go to the 24. Yeah, 25 seems fine. And in the colors, play around until you get the one you need. It will take practice, as I'm saying. And in the shadows, let's go and I'm gonna make it blue, and let's increase the saturation. Yeah, seems nice. The skin tone is not as good as I expected, but well, it takes time. So let's zoom out, and let's see, can we increase it a bit more? No, I think 25 for it also works nice. So let's look at the preview. It's very subtle but it looks nice. And in the balance I'm gonna make it slightly more yellowish, not too much. Let's keep it to 15, and that seems really nice. And yellow is mostly for making her skin and the sand really nice pop out. But you can also like decrease the saturation if you think it's way too strong. So let's give it 20. Yeah, that seems decent. So this is a flat image, but this gives it some kind of feeling. And this seems our job is done here. So let's look at, you can click on this icon and see like camera raw defaults. So this is the one we started with, and this is we are right now. So this is the halfway we are through the effect. Now when you think okay, my job is done here, and you want to open this inside Photoshop, so what you do is instead of directly clicking on open image, you hold down your shift key, so it will turn into open object, and then click on it, so it will open it inside the Photoshop. Now here's the benefit. Because we open it as an object, when I double click on this thing, it will again open the camera raw, and I can edit it anytime I want, even after saving and closing the file. So that's one really big benefit. Now it's time to do some color correction inside Photoshop, which one we could have done in camera raw, but they are just a lot easier and time saving here. So I'm gonna go here to my adjustment layers and select, where is it, color balance. And first of all I'm gonna focus on the, what do you call, sky and ocean. So I want to pop them, so I'm gonna go to shadows and add a little bit of blue. Don't worry about the rest of the image, just focus on the sky and the water. And then I'm gonna go to highlights, and then I'm gonna add a bit more blue. So that seems nice. It might look terrible, but after it will look good. So this is good. Now as you can see, we have this layer mask here and our brush tool here. It's on normal with 100% opacity, and make our brush tool bigger. So I'm gonna make it bigger, okay, a lot bigger, yeah, something like that. And then I'm gonna just simply remove it from the bottom area, and when it comes here, make it smaller. I'm using my bracket keys, big bracket and small bracket, to make it small and big. So I'm gonna remove it from her face. her hair and sand. Okay, not too much. I want to add a bit more here, so it blends better. Close this thing. So now if I turn it on and off, it only and only affects the sky and water. And let's remove it from here. Some To remove it, you remove it with black color, and if you want to add it, you paint with white color. It's really simple. Basic of maskings. So I can remove it from here a little bit, or looks good. Now we're gonna create another adjustment layer, and then this time I'm gonna select color balance, and we're gonna go to our shadows and add touch blue. You might think, why blue? There's a reason. For darker parts I need blue to balance things, and then I'm gonna go to my highlights, and then I'm gonna add a bit more red, and let's add slight yellow, not too much. Be careful with these things, okay? And preserve luminosity or not, it's up to you. Preserving luminosity will uh, give it a bit more punch, contrast. So I'm gonna go with preserve, and then let's keep it -6. Looks good. And then for red I'm gonna go with +7, decent enough. So let's turn it on and off. Yep, looks great. For red I can go with -4, sorry, +4. It's always confusion. So 4, that seems fine. Yep, looks decent. Now we have to remove it from here. So just as last time, just paint with black color and remove it from the sky and stuff, so it will only affect the model. So let's remove it from here. Now if I turn it on and off, you can see the difference. See, it's a flat image, but now she is separated from the background and it looks much better. And take your time, do the masking job properly, and you can always alt click on the mask and see if you forgot any areas. Yeah, see, that seems fine. And again alt click, and boom, that's fine. So now it's looking much better, and create another adjustment layer, and I'm gonna select gradient. Now in the gradient, you're gonna select this transparent, foreground to transparent. Now sadly our foreground color is white, so it has picked up white, but you can change it here. Click on this little icon, and then in the color change it to black. Hit OK, and also here change it to black, and OK. So that seems nice. And in the style I'm gonna go radial and then reverse it and increase the scale a bit more. Yeah, that seems real nice. And then change its blend mode to soft light, and let's turn it on and off. Yeah, it looks nice. See the contrast it brings and more focus on the model. And you can also like click on this, and like color balance you can remove it, sorry, like color balance you can remove it from her face and stuff like that. So now it looks much better, and she is in really nice focus. Do the masking job properly, and that's nice. Amazing. Now create another adjustment layer and select curves, and in the curves I'm gonna go to my blues, and then I'm gonna increase them a touch. Make sure you do not overdo it, because then there will be no point of adding all the yellows and things doing on her skin and sand. So don't overkill it, and keep it in control. Yeah, that seems fine. Turn it on and off. Yep. You can also like make the opacity to 80, 85. Let's go with 80. Yep, looks good. And now comes the final step. So I'm going to create a new blank layer by clicking on the second last icon. So new blank layer, and then press Ctrl Alt Shift and E. So it will create a JPG inside Photoshop, as you can see here. And then you have to press Ctrl T. Now the horizon is tilted this way, so I'm gonna rotate it a bit more this way. I'm just basically trying to adjust the horizon, and then make it bigger. Hold your Alt and Shift key and then make it bigger, so it will get bigger from all the sides. That seems nice. And confirm it. Now it made it a lot bigger. So to make it smaller, again press Ctrl T, and then make it smaller by same way. Hold your Alt and Shift key and then make it smaller like that, and then confirm it. So she is much better shape now. And now go to filter, blur, and then go and select fill blur here. In the filter, what you want to do is click once here, make sure you have selected the first one here, then click here, then click here, and then click here, and then click here. What I'm basically trying to do is blur the rest of the area and only focus on her body. This is completely optional. If you don't want to do it, I can understand, you can just skip it, but I like doing it and I like the effect of it. So now I'm gonna adjust this middle point exactly on her face, and this one I'm gonna bring it slightly near to her hand. Now the rest of the points, they are fine, but in the middle one we do not need any kind of blur, so we can focus on her. So when I select this thing, I have this option to remove the blur, so I'm gonna make it 0 pixel. And as you can see, now there is no more blur on her face. If we zoom in, you can see there is no blur, but the rest of the area is blurry. So that seems really nice. And this bottom one, I'm gonna make it actually 25 and bring it slightly down, touch more, and then hit OK. So this way it will apply the blur. My PC is pretty freaking slow, I know that. And also, the higher the resolution is, the more time the blur will take, or actually any process in filter gallery will take. So that's something you should know. And the blur is almost done, and boom, there it is. Now I know it's not very realistic, but it looks really good, and that's the reason why I did it. Like, I really like the way this hand gets blurry, and then here it just gives it that really nice look that I want. So this is the final output, and here is the after before, the original one and the edited one. So I really hope that you learned something, and if you did, hit that like button, and if you have any kind of questions or suggestions, feel free to ask them in the comment section below. And you can click on any of these boxes to check out more Photoshop color correction videos, and you can always subscribe to my channel, so every time I upload a new video you will get an update. Plus it will take you to my channel where I have a lot of Photoshop tutorials waiting for you. So till then, goodbye, take care, and have some fun with Photoshop.